Hello, you came back. Great to see you. So just to manage expectations, the last video I'd got a meeting afterwards, and today I'm going to the gym. So some days you'll get dressy and other days you'll get messy. This is the latter. But we're keeping it real. So, where are we? I'd had the idea for the village, and then I'd got a couple of questions I needed to work out. So, who was I going to be looking to support? Where was I going to do that, and how? So the who was very much around everybody that is around the Send family. Mums, obviously, and that has always been my priority in my not-for-profit because that's the position I'm coming from. Dads who do get overlooked, grandparents. So I remember my mum saying when the boys were born, she knew that the boys would be fine. She knew that I would take care of them and do everything I could. But she said, you were my baby, and I was worried about you. And I thought that was gorgeous. So I know that there'll be loads of grandparents that wrestle with what to say, when to say it, how to offer support. And then we've also got siblings, the unsung heroes of stories like ours. So, a space for them. And then as I thought about it more, I thought, foster parents, adoptive parents, anybody around a send child deserves support. So that was my who, basically everyone. I've worked with businesses and online for goodness knows 10 years or more now. So I'm a big fan of niching, which means focusing in. But I'm not focusing in on the particular person. Focusing in on the sector, which is the special education needs and disability community. So that's my niche, that's my area of focus. And who within that space is everybody around the child. So then I was thinking, well, where am I going to do this? So my first thought was I could do it on Facebook. So the advantages to that is most people have got access to Facebook or Instagram social media. So Facebook's a really easy platform for everyone to navigate. The notifications are already in the app, so you're not having to go anywhere else. It's free for me to set up, and it's really familiar. So I've been looking after groups for a long time, and I could do that really easily. The downside is that actually not everyone is on social media. And actually, I think more and more people are taking a step back from Facebook, Instagram, those kind of platforms. And also, Meta own that space, not me. So it's like renting a house rather than buying. So the other option was to do it off social media, off Meta, and to work with an app company or a different separate platform. So that way, everyone can join. It's not limited just to those people who are on social media, and I own it. So it's like buying the house rather than renting. The downside of that was it's new. I've not used an app or a platform off Meta before, and potentially there's going to be costs involved, whether that's, I don't know, like 25 quid a month to host it or whether it's thousands. I just didn't know. So that's where I was. So at that point, I decided, based on that information, I was going to do it off Meta. So then came to the how. So how am I going to do this? So I've ran a charity, I've had a charity and two not-for-profits. So I am super familiar with that space. And the benefit of having it either as part of my existing not-for-profit or as a not-for-profit on its own is that it is community focused. And so grants and funding opportunities really like that kind of focus, which is great. You can also, ask people to fundraise for you, which again is really positive, but it's really hard work as well, and it's not sustainable. So it only takes, the infrastructure to rely on one or two grant pots or fundraising streams, and if that stops, then the provision stops, the service stops, and that worries me a little bit. And it's really hard to predict. So you can't say, well, I know I'm going to get this grant or this amount of fundraising in next year. So it's really hard to predict and to be able to plan for the future. The other side of that is a private company. So completely independent of funders. So you're not at the mercy of somebody else making decisions for you. Much more predictable. So if I know I've got 100 members, I know that I've got X amount of money coming in. So I can plan speakers, I can plan upgrades and updates and things like that. Also, when you're a business, you get business support, So I thought that's quite nice. I don't know that that strategic support is quite as good when you're in the not-for-profit sector. But I thought, oh, might be quite interesting to have business support. Helps me to reinvest back into the business again because it's predictable and it's scalable, which means that I can grow the platform with a level of certainty and sustainability. Because what I didn't want to do is develop a service, offer a space, create this space, and then have to say, I'm really sorry, I've not got any money, I can't run it anymore. Because I feel like that's worse in some ways. To give people something and then take it away is just really difficult. So for that reason, I decided to go limited company, so a private company to me. So set it up as a business. So that's where we are. So who I'm helping, everyone around the Send Child, where that's going to be off Meta in an independent platform, and how through a private company. So as a business rather than a not-for-profit. And those are my reasons. I know some people aren't going to agree with them. I'm okay with that because I thought long and hard about the pros and the cons of doing both ways. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now. So yeah, the next step really was how do I take this from a concept to something that looks a little bit more tangible? And you'll have to stay around to find out how that happened. The journey continues.